When Reince Priebus reveals himself, do you have to be there to see it? Apparently, part of the reason that Trump accepted his resignation was because after Scaramucci called the New Yorker and called Reince a paranoiac. I've only ever heard paranoiac used one time before, which was in a Ron Suskind book about Obama. And Obama apparently said, Hillary is schizophrenic and paranoid. She's a fucking paranoiac.
Well, he did play basketball with Scaramucci, so.
But look, I'm not Tom Daschle. I'm not trying to suck my own cock. That did not happen. That part of the reason, though, that Trump let Reince Priebus go was that he didn't fight back against Scaramucci, and Trump was happy about Scaramucci's outburst, other than the fact that he overshadowed Trump a little too much. And here is, Reince Priebus, the ultimate machine hack, and at least Spicer's kind of, he released a press release. I guess he went on Hannity, but he's kind of laid low. But here is Reince Priebus after 6 months of humiliations and getting the show in the door, telling Sean Hannity that everything's great and people aren't interested in palace intrigue.
And joining us now, former RNC chair and I guess now former chief of staff, Reince Priebus. How are you doing at this moment? How are you feeling? You feel good about this, bad about this? Has this been building? Where are you with this?
Well, I mean, obviously it's always mixed feelings, but generally good. Number one, it was an honor and a privilege to serve President Trump. I think he's doing an amazing job. I think he needs to get more credit for the great work he's doing.
Thanks.
And I don't know,
Thanks,
obviously, why he hasn't gotten more recognition around the country for the bills, the executive orders, and it's this constant obsession over distractions. And so, look, he's doing a great job, but I'm feeling good about the fact that he's making a change that makes him comfortable with moving forward. We had a good talk yesterday. I resigned, he accepted it, and then we started working together and talking quite a few times about who would be a great pick to come in here and be the chief of staff. And I can't think of anyone better than a four-star General John Kelly, who's a good, decent, tough guy who's exactly the type of person the president needs. So I'm happy for him. I think actually going a different direction, hitting a reset button is a good thing. And the president did that. And so I think he's happy. I got to tell you, although it's always a little mixed when things like this happen, I generally feel pretty good.
I don't know how you feel pretty good after months of total humiliation culminating in some airhead former hedge fund guy whose job you had blocked for several months calling you a leaker, saying that he called the FBI on you for something that you actually didn't do, that the guy actually did himself but was too stupid to recognize it, and then getting shown the door by a narcissistic baby that you'd been trying to essentially caretake while you pushed through the core Koch brother agenda, which has been your entire purpose in public life, to make America poorer, sicker, and dumber.
When Vice News decided not to pick up my contract a couple of years ago when I was researching a TV show for them, that's exactly what I said too. I'm like, I'm glad we're going to have this pause, a little reset, see how we can make comfortable, or how you guys could feel comfortable going forward.
That's what you said in the interview with us at the Majority Report. We're like, why did you leave Vice abruptly? You said, well, I just thought it was a great time for both of us to hit the old reset button, to really think about where we were in terms of both of our mutual shared goals. But I think Vice did a great job. I couldn't have been happier. I just want to quote from this really briefly. Obviously, I will continue making fun of Reince and Scaramucci, and it's hilarious, and it's also disturbing. We played a clip several weeks ago of Kelly at a ceremony in Connecticut, in Bristol, Connecticut.
Where Trump was getting presented a sword.
And Kelly said to him in a hot mic, I wish we could use that on the press. And that was probably the moment that solidified he would become chief of staff. And I think, yes, having a military guy who also, in his own more understated way, has deranged and bigoted conspiracy theories about the border, who floated a policy of separating mothers from children at the border, small children, he is going to reinforce the worst tendencies of Trump in all ways, which is the Cadillo military worship thing, as well as he will be an ally of the Bannon sort of bigotry, xenophobia ring.
He's probably the most comfortable fascist I think I've seen in the administration so far. There are certain guys you see like they're maybe not ready for this. Kelly has done everything without a blink and without any sort of like he's completely on Team Trump and not embarrassed about it at all.
Not embarrassed about it at all. And I just want to quote though from this, because even Priebus, even though he's the sort of, the ultimate hack and awful and involved in voter suppression and everything, but you're going to see this popping up. This is a piece that came out in the Atlantic yesterday called Reince Priebus's Final Humiliation. Privately, Priebus was frequently horrified by Trump's behavior during the campaign. He deplored Trump's attacks on Khizr Khan when the Access Hollywood, who was, of course, the father of the Muslim soldier that was killed in combat. Actually, I would be curious to hear Sam Harris's thoughts on that situation. When the Access Hollywood tape surfaced, he even urged Trump to drop out of the race, of course, privately, an insult that Trump never let him forget, but publicly he played the good soldier. When Trump won the Indiana primary, Priebus preemptively declared him the presumptive nominee at the convention. He was instrumental in putting down a last-ditch rebellion of anti-Trump partisans. To the never-Trump crowd, Priebus was a craven patsy who sold out his principles. He empowered Trump again and again, the anti-Trump conservative writer David French tweeted on Friday. Reince was tireless in defending, excusing, and empowering and enabling Trump. And I will never quote David French approvingly again, but you're going to see a dual track with Reince Priebus, where he'll go out, he'll do the Sean Hannity interview, he'll muster as much enthusiasm to pretend that he's not angry about Trump, that he's not humiliated, that he doesn't have a problem with Trump. He'll do it as much as possible. And then he will continue. And of course he leaked when he was at the White House and during the campaign things that undermined Trump. He's going to, there's a reason that this guy at the Atlantic knows, whether it's personally, obviously it probably isn't in this case through Priebus or not, that, Reince was actually super offended that Trump attacked a father who had immigrated to this country and whose son was killed serving the country overseas just because of his faith. That Reince was appalled by the Trump grab him by the pussy video. He's going to do a parallel effort at rehabilitation, and none of these people should ever be. People like David Frum shouldn't be rehabilitated, and they've been right about Trump the whole time. So if there is even a beginning of Priebus getting into the sort of general flow of conversation, and like, oh, well, he tried to hold him in check, that needs to be shot down immediately.
I'm going to sit right on this fence until I know which side I want to get off on.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos